Okay, folks, we just saw an update last night introducing something called special training. And so this video is a first look at special training. It's not going to be exhaustive. There's still some things that I want to work out that I'd like to expose in another video. But for the people who haven't, either don't understand it, the write-up on it was a little bit confusing. This is kind of a walkthrough of what we see. So under news, you go to notice, we see the update notice. And I'll cover basically a lot of what's in here and expose some things that we've noticed and found about it, and to clarify and remove some of the questions. First thing to note is Hero or Mithril pointed out that overnight they updated this to show, previously it was showing skills that didn't make sense to us because we'd never seen them before. They were using different names, so they updated the image to actually show skills that we are familiar with. For the English language version of this, and key point being that it is, well, we'll get to that. Okay, so what this has introduced is a system for adding additional numbers to your player cards. I'll show you an example. I performed it. I haven't gotten anybody to, I don't think I've gotten anybody level 2. Anyways, going to my pitchers. The first guy that I did it for was Porcello, because Porcello tends to be one of my weakest pitchers. And looking at him, you can see that the special training button down at the bottom says he's level 1 of 6, and I'm 50% through the next level. Okay, so here's the screen. You can see that it's telling me that his next level will give him +2 to his breaking. And if you notice here, on the enhancement line, my two highest enhancements are for fastball and breaking. And right above the fastball, it says for special training, got +2. So level 1 gave me +2 on his fastball, and the next one he's going to get is +2 on the breaking ball. So one of the first questions people are asking is, what happens if I have two numbers that are of the same rating? As far as I can tell so far, if they're tied, it takes the leftmost one. So fastball was first, breaking ball would be second. If velocity were 15, yeah, I'm guessing it would have gone first 2 points to velocity, then to fastball, and breaking ball, if it were also 15, would not have gotten the bonus, and it would probably flip-flop between velocity and fastball. Okay, so how did we get there? So you need to start feeding cards to him. Now, the next thing that it points out is, in the instructions, is that it requires a player of level 2020. So the player that we just looked at, Porcello, is a 2020 player. Okay? It only works for diamond cards. So if you are not sporting a team of diamonds that are level 2020, basically this is a non-issue for you. In fact, even if you do have some players that are level 20, that are diamonds that you might consider doing this for, my recommendation is don't. It's a waste of cards. The max I would say is, if you're going to invest anything into it, and you're in a situation where your team is not comprised of full diamond players at 2020, maybe get one level out of it, but don't put anything more into it. It just eats tons of cards. So let me show you. Let's take a look at a player that I haven't leveled, Buckholes here. Special training level 0, special training experience 0. So if I just fed normal cards into him, we'll just take one normal card. That normal card gets me 150 or 160 points down at the bottom right. You can see that. And if you look at the level meter, it would raise me to 0.03. So a normal card gets me 0.03. So if we just round that up and say 3 cards gets me 1%, 3 times 100 takes 300 normal cards to get him level 1. Let's take a look at something else. Let's do it with a bronze. Bronze gives us 1.2%. Silver gives us 4.9, essentially 5%. Gold gives me 22%. And then if you're actually willing to throw away a diamond, you would get 100%. Now, that said, that's for level 1. Once you hit level 2, it escalates. And it doesn't just double, it triples. So to get from level 2 to from level 1 to level 2, instead of 1 diamond, it now takes me 3 diamond cards. And if you can translate that into, if each of those diamonds represents 300, we're talking 900 normal cards to get to level 2. That's a huge investment that you could be comboing away to create other things to fill with players to actually put on your team. So, another reminder, don't do past level 1 if you are a newer team. Okay, next thing. Does the type of card that I feed into this make any difference? Let's compare. So what I did is I unlocked some of my players so we could do a comparison. So we saw that Goldschmidt gave, now it's going to be hard to tell with a diamond because I don't think it can show you more than 100%. So if I put this Pedroia in there, it just shows me 100%. So we really didn't learn anything there. Actually, what we'll do is we'll open up somebody's already level 1 and see how much a Pedroia adds to that. So let's compare. We'll put a normal gold in. A normal gold was 22.2%. We'll look at Brady Anderson here, 22.2%. So a vintage gave me nothing. And we put a prime in there, same thing. So, doesn't matter what type of card you throw in there, exactly the same. It only matters what grade of card. And in fact, going back to Ichiro, notice he's level 20. Doesn't matter, still 22%. So I've upgraded him 5 times, raised him to level 20. He still only raises my special training by 22.2%. So that puts that to rest. Don't put anything other than basic untrained cards in there, and cards that you're basically destroying. You're throwing them away, you're feeding them, they're gone. Okay, so now let's take a look at Porcello again, because he's at level 1. 50%. Now, if I fed him another diamond, which was previously 100%, Goldschmidt, that gets him, what, 30? Yeah, roughly 30%. What we expected, 1/3. Okay? And did we want to... we wanted to see if the prime... We already know the answer to this, but we're going to do it anyways. Prime takes him to the same amount. Okay, so we know what the effect is there. So let's spend a little bit more time looking at what the actual changes are. So going back to Porcello, once again, going back to the special training screen, seeing that he's level 1, I showed you that his first points were going into fastball. So what ultimately, if you raised him all the way through 5 levels, you would get 3 times 2 points added to his primary. So at this point, he would get 6 added to his fastball. He would get 4 points added to his secondary one. So breaking ball would get +4. And then once you make it to the 6th level, then his skill points will increase. So, unfortunately, I was hoping when they implemented this, because I knew this was coming, I was really hoping, and the reason I put Porcello first, sorry, I need to look at him. Quick with the special training. Lineup. Okay. Notice he has Last Boss 6, Cleaning Up Your Mess 5. I was really hoping by reaching level 6 that I would be able to get 1 additional point and I could bring Cleaning Up Your Mess to level 6. But the reality is you can't. It only allows you to apply an additional skill point to your something that's at level 6. So in the case of Porcello, once I get him to level 6 in special training, he'll get Last Boss boosted to level 7. Now, how much of an increase it is over Last Boss, I haven't. Well, once we figure this out, we'll post this, and that'll be in the more in-depth video. But for now, and I'm guessing it's going to be either Hero or Bestovian, probably, maybe Mr. Bubbles is going to be one of the first people to actually hit something to special training level 6. But as of this point, we don't know how much of an increase that gives to Last Boss. Okay, so we know Last Boss is going to reduce the batter stats by 8, so once we figure it out, is it going to go to reduce them by 10, or is it going to reduce them by 11? we don't know yet. So that'll be very interesting to see. I'll be sure to post that as soon as we figure it out, or you can watch Facebook or potentially even Heroes channel to see that once that does get discovered. Okay, so the benefits are we get additional numbers to our ratings, and we get an additional skill point for a massive investment in cards. And that's essentially the crux of it. So, once again, my recommendation is unless you are a team full out diamonds, all max at 20, and those are diamonds you don't see yourself replacing, my team is pretty firm when it comes to my Red Sox lineup. There's very minor enhancements to be made. So I know Uehara, Kimbrel, Porcello, etc., those guys are staying. Okay, here we go. I almost forgot to cover something important. Okay, so when I decided that I needed to upgrade Porcello, I looked at him and I looked at his enhancements, and he actually had his highest enhancement in location, followed by, I believe it was breaking ball, which wouldn't have been so bad, but I really wanted my points going into fastball and breaking ball. I believe those are the ones that are most important to have raised high. So I basically had to reset, and if you notice my points, if you've been following my videos, you know I was close to 7 million before, and last night I spent roughly 5 million, basically reskilling or re-leveling some of my players so that I could get proper allocation on those numbers. I can't remember if I did Pomeranz or not. I believe I did Pomeranz too. So notice he is fastball and breaking ball as well. Those would be where his numbers go. And I have 2 Chris Sales, the one that I'm working up to be a replacement for my current one. I haven't done it yet, but his points would go into location and breaking ball as well, and that's not going to work. So now I'm forced to. Basically, this is not only is it a suck on cards, destroying your cards, but it's also going to destroy my money supply in coins. So yet another reason to avoid it unless you are an absolute endgame player. So once again, advice is ignore this. Maybe throw enough into it to get your player 2 additional points. But aside from that, it's not going to be worth the investment. Okay, so I believe that brings us to the end of everything that needs to be covered. If I missed something, I'll be covering it in a follow-up video, a more comprehensive one, but I actually think I covered a lot of it in this one. So there'll just be a little bit of details about how much it takes to level between the grades or levels. So we don't know what level 2 to level 3 costs yet, or at least I don't. I know some people do. And we don't know what the impact of the level 7 skills is yet. So here we go. Bye for now. Thanks.